see if our microphone is on. It appears to be on. That is good. We like that. So, yes. Yes. Let's try this. People are insatiable. It's true. It is true. It is true. Okay. Okay. So then the callers that actually passed those return values now have to pass the run. That is fine. That is actually simpler. Yay. Okay, that could have been bad if so I before the stream started, I just like audited to make sure it sort of looked like this was the only time we passed anything there that needed return values so that I could swap it out. That was clean. So I get to finish my change. And then I get to click. Okay, so what's going on with this code is I was doing something relatively small for, uh, should have been relatively small as a way of modifying the run directive to handle more stuff. And it's just, I did it sort of over a couple of days when I was distracted and had a lot going on and only had like a couple of hours a day to do it. And I just kept getting confused in the same way because it like, I was confused about how things were looking and it like wasn't what I understood from the previous day, like wasn't sinking in and all that. So it took like 2 to 3 days of being distracted. Yesterday, I decided to, um, after looking at this for just like an hour, hour and a half, I decided to like buy a book and read a whole book that day because I don't usually read very fast. So I read a whole fiction book in that was 475 pages. So that was good. And then I had a video date with my girlfriend. So there were distracting things happening. I went to dinner with people. Wait, that no, the dinner was yesterday. The book was the day before. Anyway, so like it was just not full days of work both days. So then today I had been planning to work very hard on this all day, and then I just woke up and like I felt like crap. I have a weird like thing that happens sometimes. I don't know if it's just a certain kind of like fighting off infection or something, but like I felt like crap And so I didn't want to work all day, so I didn't. But then I finally, at dinner tonight, I like got this out and did it, and the understanding had finally gelled, and like I made the thing work. And so now, like this thing here uh, was not correct. You could see here it was 777, so it's like a landmark fan or something. Um, Earlier we were getting, oh, this was me testing other stuff for a while, but you would have seen like void, void, void earlier. So like, then I finally got this working, and then I was like, okay, there's a cleaner way to get it working, mildly cleaner. So I just YOLO'd and did the mildly cleaner thing before checking it in because I have a bunch of no check-ins. I have to like, because I was doing code changes while I was kind of not in the most focused way. There's like maybe some code changes that don't make any sense and don't matter. So I'm going to have to go clean those up. There's like no check-ins all over the place. But um, we have broken this now. Dang it. So like finish run directive has this thing. It is assigning extract from, which we are not yet doing the new version. So here, this victory cleanup we have done in theory. Okay, so it's like that. Um, okay, so let's see if that compiles our little test program. No. Oops. Okay, this is an assert directive. So I kind of did mess something up. I'm not sure what. So this is what's happening is we're not doing any return values. Now that should have been handled by this, though. Um, so I did break something, but it's for a good cause. So we should, for that assert directive, we should fall down to here. We should do this and go. Hmm. I mean, I could definitely just see what happens there. Did I do something dumb here? Just check for get furthest run, do the thing. That won't be true for that assertion. Let's see. On 549. Run and run 549. I'm a little worried by that recompile. What did I change? Okay, so we're doing this. We did install, which means we finished. Implicit, furthest, no furthest. Okay, so this is right. Limit 1. We get, whoops, didn't mean to put a breakpoint. We get a register. We go A is a literal. So that return value is set. That is what we expected. Then we finish. Okay. Okay. Did install. Oh, fudge. Okay. This still has a local variable called return values that it's checking. Oops, we don't use that anymore. Oops. So finish run directive will not pass. Thou shall not pass. Shall not pass. Look how much simpler this is. Look at, oh God, I can't believe I was doing that. That would have like hosed us completely. Okay. Might as well put these together here. Yeah. So we were also stomping that array with an empty array, which is like bad news. All right. Great. We still have our correct answer. Let's see if that runs. How's it going, everybody? I just wanted to crank through that without chatting because it was like, glad you liked the Preventing the Collapse of Civilization. What book? I read uh, uh, Project Hail Mary by Andrew Weir, the guy who wrote The Martian. Can you ask my laptop model? It's the 9000 SUX. Wait, was it 3000 SUX? What am I forgetting? It's the 6000 SUX. Okay. See, I knew it wasn't over 9000 as soon as I said that. So you gotta fact check. Yeah, it is basically The Martian 2. It's like The Martian 2 more Martianer. You don't really want to brute force it. I mean, good old-fashioned AI is kind of brute force with like some methods of constraining the brute force. Yeah, I forgot my good microphone. I hope this is bearable. Was it as good as The Martian? I don't think so. I do not think so. It's weird. Okay, so The Martian had this thing where it was kind of like quick. Like it didn't go into details sometimes. Like sometimes it did, like, hey, we're nerding out on like whatever equipment is on Mars or whatever. But this book had that too. But the scope of what's happening in the book is a lot bigger than the scope of what's happening in The Martian. And so this kind of quick style, uh, it's like it's in some way like implausible that it was that easy to do the fucking thing that they do in this book, you know? Like it actually needed to to have they needed to be a little less glib, I guess. And like the whole Martian style thing, I mean, so in The Martian, it's like, hey, there's this one dude, and he's got to get off Mars, and he ends up having some help from people on Earth and stuff, right? Spoilers, but that book is really old at this point, and there was a movie. Um, I don't want to spoil anything, but like this is sort of that same format in some sense, but like it's so much less plausible that one person can like fucking do what's in this book with like near future technology with a couple of like it just it really strains credibility, right? Yeah, I mean it's still an interesting read, but like yeah, I don't know. Is there a hole in the ceiling? No. Like it's supposed to be basically what happens in the book is there's a technological discovery. It's like mostly current day technology, but there's a new technological discovery that sets up the book that enables them to do things that you can't do with current day tech. But it's just like what they manage to do, it's just all way too easy. Like engineers know how complicated stuff gets. This didn't have that sensibility of how complicated stuff gets, you know? So, I don't know. Did I read Artemis? I did not. We were talking about the new book by the dude who wrote The Martian, which came out like a week ago. I just happened to be walking by a bookstore, and because I'm in a freedom state right now, as opposed to California, everybody here is happy and hanging out and having a good time. And like I went into the bookstore and I bought a book for the first time in years. And that was, and then I read it in one day and I was happy with it. The reader kept pronouncing ASCII as ASC2. Yeah. That's what I thought it meant the first time I saw the acronym when I was like 10 years old. Am I in Miami still? Yes. Is Matt Damon in the second book too? I don't know. Have I ever read the Three Body Problem series? I read the first book and I really didn't like it. And I wasn't motivated to read the other books. Maybe I should because people say they kind of really go a lot further, but like eh, I really didn't like the first book very much. Yeah, I know he wrote Artemis. I guess I heard bad things about that book, so I didn't read it back before, but like I really shouldn't believe what I hear from other people about how good or bad things are, because if there's one thing that I have learned, it's that most people don't know what's good, and like especially lately, especially since like Twitter happened, most people don't know what's good. Did I find the engineering solutions in The Martian plausible? Um, I don't know that much about space, so it was like kind of fine for. I mean, I sort of knew while I was reading the book, like, yeah, this would never fucking actually work. But like, because I don't know that much about space, it was still within my suspension of disbelief. And like the thing at the end of The Martian that's super ridiculous about like the final rendezvous to pick him up. Um, I just liked how fucking absurd that was. Like, because The Martian is kind of about just like fucking up the equipment you have in an engineering way to get it to do something that it wasn't meant to do. And the ending was like super that. So I dug how extreme it was, right? Um, in the movie, like, because I saw the movie way after I read the book, and I mean, in the movie, they sort of do the same thing, but it's just not as, it doesn't come across as being such a huge, fucking, stupid, horrible hack as it does in the book. Is that Project Hail Mary? Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Am I going to move to Miami? Well, I'm thinking about it. I I'm really having a good time here. It's totally chill. There are like nice neighborhoods to hang out in, unlike San Francisco, where all the nice neighborhoods are basically gone. Um, it's a freedom state, so like I can have like I can do freedom state kind of things. It's got way lower to basically no taxes. We cut a hole in the glove and use it as a booster. Oh, that's not. Yeah, that sounds stupid to me. Oh, that's in the movie, right? That's not in the book. The using your glove as a booster is not in the book, as far as I remember. Yeah, that part was stupid. I think I forgot about that part because I had to block it out of my brain. In the book, he uses glove hole as a, I don't remember that. No, the part of the ending that I liked was how they like blew out the airlock on the rendezvous ship to get it into a lower orbit. Like that part was that was good. You're pretty sure he did the glove thing in the book. Okay, maybe I blotted it out of my memory from the book too. Soil on Mars cannot be used to grow plants. I mean, he mixed it with fertilizer, if you recall correctly. Uh, self-generated fertilizer. Have I read any Brandon Sanderson? No. I mean, dude, I could get ammo delivered to my condo if I live in a freedom state. That's great. All right, so this ran. Um, so let's try this. Assuming this works, which it probably will, I just have to clean up the no check-ins. Okay, this was good. I feel good today. I felt like crap all day, but then got better around 7 p.m. Been feeling great since then. All right, so no check-in patrol. How many are there? Oh my God. Now some of these are just commented out code that we can delete. Those are easy. Um, this is the one that we just did. That's great. Games. That's part of that. Games. Okay, this isn't so bad. So this was something where I was like, oh, I don't think that does anything. Um, okay, this is more. This was stuff I was putting in, like cowabungas that I was putting in. Um, yeah, I tried a lot of things that didn't necessarily. Okay, this is actually not. Did we actually get any of those in the Sokoban compile? Probably no. Oh, this is for a very special case that wouldn't come up normally. I actually don't know that we need to do this. Let's leave the no check in there for a minute because I think I can restructure that a little bit. Let's just rerun the test to make sure I didn't delete nothing bad. Yeah. What value are we getting? Right now, we are making run directives be able to pass on multiple return values. So in this programming language, for reasons of efficiency and clarity, we do not make tuples out of um, multiple return values because I think that's a bad idea. Um, some Chinese clone programming languages make tuples out of multiple values and are proud of it. I think that's a mistake. Um, so what happens is when you have a function, like this, if the person defining the function doesn't say that these absolutely must be looked at, then what happens is you can just pay attention to however many values that you want, right? Um, so the multiple values get explicitly mapped in a statement like this. Like if you just had, get rid of the run, if you just had ABC colon equals f of 5, this gets explicitly desugared into three different declarations. It doesn't say this returns a tuple that then gets decomposed, right? Because that adds a separate data representation step that I do not want. I mean, maybe someday I would feel like that would be a thing that we could do cleanly, but like I just don't want that in my type system right now. Yeah, I could sort of think of a thing to do, but there might be fallout. Can the compiler still output to C? I removed that entirely. The thing is, you can output to C if you want with a metaprogram. Um, so, and that's configurable by users and all sorts of things. And you have, you know, you can make it do whatever you want. Of course, people would have to do that from scratch, but honestly, it's not that hard. If you started with the program print module and just said, we're going to start outputting C, you could do it. The most annoying thing is just like locally scoped. Um, I mean, there's a few things you'd have to deal with. So one of them is locally scoped functions. You have to like make unique names for those, right? That's not that hard though, because you just put the name that you used in a hash table, and then future people that use that name can refer to it. Um, the annoying part is what do you do about like type info and stuff if people use type info? And I guess you could just output a giant C array of all the bytes and then like remap that to structs. Like you would have to make like at least a little bit of a runtime that does that, you know, maybe not much of one, maybe just a couple functions. Um, oh, and yeah, I mean, supporting all the features would be a little bit of work, but it's not that bad because like features like polymorphism and stuff are all like you don't have to support that because by definition, all those things are gone by the time the program is compiled, right? So like if you outputted a C version of a program that has polymorphism, you would just like output all the different versions of that function that got compiled and whatever, and which is exactly what our backend would have done as well. You have a function that returns multiple values. Can you do return foo in Baz? No, we don't chain returning multiple values. People ask for that sometimes, but I don't like that. I think it's a mistake because um, you end up with these long chains of dependencies. Like it's just a very fragile thing where as soon as you change the number of return values in one of the functions, now you've got just like a giant ass amount of work to do to fix it. It's like if you use const or something. Like I just don't want to encourage that kind of programming. It doesn't seem good to me. It's one of those things that seems handy and nice, like because it's like, oh, I can just type this. But when you start building programs out of that, yeesh, it's not good. Like it's much better. Like if you've got like three or four values that are going to travel together across many functions like that, just make a struct for it, right? Because the nice thing about that is you can change the struct without changing all the functions. Is there a way to get it to dump the bytecode representation? Well, you can definitely type that manually for specific functions. So you could say like if you say dump right here in a procedure. I think you know that though, right? But you can do that. You of course have to parse that. This is the debug compiler bytecode, so the release one outputs less information. Um, if you actually want that in binary, which is probably what you're saying, um, because otherwise you have to parse it, and that's a huge pain in the ass, and I might not output all the information. There's no real way to get the binary bytecode right now. We will probably provide that eventually, but like it's not really stable right now. And we kind of don't want to have to stabilize it for a long time. Um, so yeah, if you mean like outputting C by mapping the byte code, you can't really do that currently. But I don't think that's the best way to do it. I would just go from the code nodes and generate C from there. Because even things that don't directly like multiple return values, it's like fine, just put out parameters. Like oh, like the language here is roughly an imperative language that approximately I don't know. Yeah, like if you just had to translate the bytecode, the plus part of it is you don't have to think that hard about anything, right? The minus part of it is you would get lower quality code output that's probably doesn't get optimized as well. That's my guess. But I don't know. I don't know. That's no, that's actually not the whole program. Um, that's just any function that you put the word dump on. And I actually now I don't recommend parsing it, honestly. Because there might not be all the information that you want. Because this is just for human display, and like sometimes I probably don't say everything relevant. Don't I have, hold on. Maybe I added something. No. Wait, we have this message debug dump. Okay. Okay. So what happens is when something is flagged as debug dump, which the only way that happens right now is manual, but we could probably put in a thing where you can flag it in the metaprogram. When that happens, you actually get a message that I think has this text in it. So that's better than like having to run the compiler and capture standard out. It's just there's no, aside from typing in the program text right now, there's no way to like manually do it, but it actually would be pretty easy to add that, I think. Let's see. Yeah, we literally just do the print and then pass the string. So the plan was to give people this information at least for human debugging, and it's not quite that easy to turn on. Does Run Run do anything interesting? It makes kung fu movies. No, I did make sure that that works, as you might see here. Um, it's just kind of a no-op, but this could happen if you're calling macros or generating code somehow. So it was important to make sure this works. So this is actually the thing that I was doing last, right? This last print is this thing that we were getting here. Okay, so this is all good. Wait, I guess I ran the tests again. So we have two no check-ins to deal with. One on line 1341. And the thing with this is like, I actually don't think. Okay, see, if we have a furthest run, we set the substitution anyway, which like, I don't even think that makes sense either. That's kind of nonsense. But that means this isn't even being reached, actually, probably. I feel like we actually, like, does this happen? If I don't think that's the right thing to do there, but let me get rid of the dump. Okay, so we do hit that. And we're setting the substitution, but like, I don't. So that's why this was never going off. anyway, because we were exiting up here. Here, I think we actually want to go see, not doing this seems bad. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. Okay, anyway, so that was one of them. Shouldn't run an error? No. What if you just wrote something like run 10, then you run the expression 10 and you get that back? Why should run 10 not work? Explain that to me. Okay, okay. So I did do furthest run cleanup. I already did that. Where are we? We are in desugaring. I actually don't think this matters. Let's experiment and find out. But I do not think that matters. I think that the run patching that we did will get the values to the people. It does matter. No, yeah, no, we actually need to do this. We actually do need to do this. Actually, I'm not, see that. Okay. This is weird. I see. So I could replace all this with that. God, this laptop is so slow. There we go. So yeah, as I suspected, um, okay, great, great, super good, super good. There's no more no check-ins. That means that if this passes the tests, I now have a good victory for people. You thought there was a secret project which is not Sokoban. There is, but it is not in active development right now. Does the language allow x comma y equals y comma x? No, and honestly, who gives a shit? Like, again, that is the sort of thing that we probably will handle eventually. I honestly don't give a fuck. Like, that kind of thing is so, like, when you're designing a programming language, it's very easy to get caught in this tractor beam of like little cute things like that. And like, that's how you advertise your language is like, we do this little cute thing. But the thing is, the problems that make programming terrible are not solved by little cute things, right? They're solved by like fucking industrial scale, like you need the fucking Falcon Heavy to launch, go to orbit, come back and land, right? You don't need x comma y equals y comma x. That's like a different thing. So we're in a different business than that, which is why I've deprioritized that kind of thing. I think actually it might actually work now. At one point, it didn't work. It like would assign, it would do sort of the naive thing and stomp one of the values, and that might still happen. Um, but like honestly, I do not give a shit about that. Well, there's an atomic swap intrinsic, which you don't want to use an atomic swap if you don't need an atomic swap because that is more expensive than just a regular swap. Also, you wouldn't actually want to compile that to a register exchange. Like, what happens in a compiler when you do something like x comma y equals y comma x is like those are just aliases for each other. So now any use of x below that uses whatever the register was for y, and whatever the use of y is below that uses the register for x. So that should compile into nothing, actually. It shouldn't compile into a register exchange unless like it's inside a loop where they have to cross. But if there's no loop, that would compile into nothing ideally. Comma is the tuple operator. Yeah, but like even like all I have to do to make that work is just output temporaries, right? And then assign to the temporaries, and then you just hope that all that gets optimized out, which is kind of like, having a tuple act as a temporary, except not, because it doesn't involve memory allocation. So I just don't remember if we did that. I could find out if we did that, but I think the answer is this has not yet been done. Let's see. I think this will print like 7, 7, right, instead of 7, 5. Yeah. But again, that's something that it's not hard to change. It just hasn't been a priority. The reason why I would want to change it is actually just because, like, I'm not actually that concerned about what this compiles into, but like, this is a mistake that a beginner, or not exactly a mistake, like it's a landmine that a beginner could run into if they don't know that this doesn't do this, right? And that's kind of unnecessary. So we should make it work just for that reason. Yeah, I mean, if I thought it was going to be super hard to make it work, I would say, nah, screw it, I'm not going to do it. And people just have to know. But it's actually, and in fact, that was my original attitude about it. But like since then, I realized, yeah, it's actually probably pretty easy to make that work correctly. Um, so this is pretty good. Now, uh, before I get to check in, I think I just want to put this code that I've been doing into a test somewhere. Is there like a run in here? No. Let's put this in here. Multi-return run. Okay. So then we will be testing for this. So oh, no returns was used here. Why am I no? Okay. Whoa. It did not give us a source code location. Oh, okay. It's because I put it in this scope where there's a variable called f as well. I think we're going to want to improve that. Let's just make sure it works. Oh, it's this. It's this that's freaking out. But I don't know why it's not giving me a source location. Asret. Asret. We asretted. Okay. All right. Great. So it runs undeclared identifier F. Okay, so that one has a location. Oh wait, no, that's okay. That's weird. WTF. WTF. All right, let's see what's going on there. Could be that one. Could be that one. Could be that one. Got some old breakpoints we can get rid of. Okay. Type mismatch. Site is a binary operator. Line 939 of features MISC. So maybe for some reason, reporting locations is turned off. That's what could happen. Will you generalize XYZW equals ZWXY? Yeah, that would work automatically. Um, so like, let's just see what happens when we step into this. This shouldn't change anything here. Oh, it does. Wait, what? Hold on, why is this a binary? Okay, this is this, but like it's deciding on a literal as the best site, but this shouldn't have a substitution. It does. That's very weird because those types don't match. Okay, I think it's like this is returning, there are values on interp called literal false and literal true. And like those, let's see, is literal false. No, it's not. It's just a literal that was created somewhere and not given a location. So we really should fix maybe both of these things, but firstly this. So we're just going to recompile the whole thing. Dude, I swear Microsoft is making data breakpoints slower and slower somehow without me patching Visual Studio. Like, these days they take so long that I just can't fucking do it. I just have to recompile the thing. What does this program do? It flibbles the fram froms. It is a fram from flibbler. Okay, so this is saying copy literal. Does literal have location info? No. Fuck you. What is that? Oh, great. We're in a macro, so we can't tell. No. Go to definition of do math const expert. Dude! Oh, how can you do without an IDE? It's so amazing. It's like you can't do anything without them because it just tells you everything. All right. So there's probably a copy literal in here somewhere. Yeah, copy literal of the second argument. Is that the only one? No. Well, we're just going to have to trace it back. We're going to run it back. We're copying something that already doesn't have location info. And we're just going to keep, it was one before. I should install ReSharper. That doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good. You may not know who you're talking to. Does print allow %x, %d, %f? That's just not how it works. In some cases, that might be more convenient if that was how it works, but it's not. And the hope is that in the long term, what we're doing will be more convenient in almost all cases, but we'll see. Okay. I knew it. One of these days, we're going to get to the original literal. I once said autocomplete makes me a bad programmer. Why is that? I mean, I'm sure I explained why at the time that I said that. So I'm not sure what you want. Okay. I mean, this is still not going to be great, but better than nothing. Yeah, that's not very good. Um, I don't know why we're following substitution here. It's been a long time since I did this, so I don't get best site. Why would we set prefer this lexical range and errors on that? Okay, so we should be able to, turn this off. Dang it. All right, get best site. We'll break there. Okay. How did that get set? Right. Right. So the deal is we got a literal from the multiplication. I don't think this is right. I don't understand. Okay. Okay. Good thing I made a note for myself. This seems very wrong for me unless it's a unary operator. Oh wait, we set it in both places. What's this one? Oh, that's commented out. We set it in one place. Substitute things. Sometimes we want to show the original thing. Have an identifier bound to a constant. We don't want to highlight the constant. It really doesn't, because I still didn't put a thing. I don't think we ever. I also don't know why we're using the right hand term instead of the left hand. When doing a run that returns with my operators. So that'll fix this error message probably, but the question is, does it break other things? Okay. So now this is this frickin' annoying thing where it's like, haha, we get a weird, we didn't highlight the whole thing. Of course, I think that already didn't work. I don't know why this is coming out so difficult to like always highlight the fucking thing. It like seems trivial, and we keep having cases where it doesn't happen. So I need to sit down and again, like I apparently need to write a treatise on how this all has to work, because it does not seem like it should be that hard, but somehow it is. Anyway. Mhm. Well, that's still a better error message than we had. So we're going to leave it with that for now. Because, like, I don't want to rat hole it. Like, that is a cosmetic nicety that we could make better. Um, but we have actual, like, you know, features to deliver and, like, bugs that are an issue. Okay, right. So I forgot to fix the actual program. Um, so the reason we left this error in here was so that we would see the error message. Yeah, all right. So changelog. Um, oh, I had these yes check-ins. That was when I had no check-ins, but I wanted to check in. Um, all right. Do I still have yes check-ins? Nope. Okay, so that's done. Why am I never on the right window? There we go. Okay. So I had hoped to get to more big things tonight, but I think that's enough. It is past midnight here in Miami, so I might just check it in and go to bed. But I am very happy to have this done. It means I can do funner, juicier stuff to deliver value to the people tomorrow. Does type still do what it used to? Yes, type is not changed. Um, this stuff here is not in yet, so don't pay attention to this. Uh, this down here is what's in. This is what I plan to do for the next beta still. And I don't know, there's one or two other bug fixes from the mailbag that I want to get in, but you know, if I do all this stuff, these are just, I kind of want to cosmetically rename these things. Does Go Banana still work? I haven't tried it in a while, which means it probably has decayed a little bit because we don't ship that as like a module, right? So it's not getting compiled all the time. It's just like a thing that we can enable in the Sokoban game, so it probably doesn't work right now. If it did work, we would have to convert it to sim. These look, that should be a new line. Go Bananas is going to ship with the compiler. Probably not. It doesn't like do anything useful. If we make a useful version of Go Bananas, we'll probably ship it. Um, like it was just sort of a proof of concept demo, right? Like it's not the original Go Bananas is not really something that you would use to understand your program. It just doesn't do enough. It just draws some cute graphs. So maybe if we figure out more things to make it do. Okay. I think I could just hang out and chat for a little bit if people have questions, but aside from that, it's bedtime. It is fun, good bedtime. Miller time, as we call. Oh, well, we haven't actually checked in. So now let me just do Sokoban again with the release compiler, and then we'll check in. Miami, whatever out of 10. I mean, I like it better than most places that I visited on my tour to look at where to live, honestly. So if I decide to live in a freedom state, Miami is the leading contender so far. What would a useful version of Go Bananas look like, and should Rad start worrying at that point? I mean, Rad's been bought by Epic, so I don't know what Rad's priorities are now. I mean, they're still doing all the same stuff, but I don't know what that's going to turn into long term. Um, like, I imagine that we'll do something that's just very attuned toward this language, right? I'm not interested in copying other people's development tools because I'm not a Linux developer, right? Um, I mean, I wish they would copy Visual Studio, actually, so I shouldn't even say that. But I mean, they do badly copy it in a way that doesn't understand the point. Um, but like, I want to do new and interesting things, right? Would I honestly choose to live in a non-freedom state? It depends. Like, some parts of Colorado are pretty nice. Um, uh, but like Denver is not a very freedom city, you know. But I kind of feel like Denver is rotting in that same way that San Francisco is. So I'm not that eager to move there. But I mean, I could see moving to Colorado potentially. Uh, in the Run Run Shaw case. Why did that pop under? Out of date. Oh, somebody else has checked in things on the compiler. Oh, goody. Means I get to test again, though. Hmm. Compiler was inlining the expansion, not inlining the three instructions on get calls. Oh, great. Yeah, compiler is smarter than you are. Let's see what we did here. Okay, this is not very pretty to read for some reason. Why am I looking at a blank page? I guess he deleted all this. Oh, wait. I see. So he inlined. Right. So he sort of, because he's actually looking at, okay. See this stuff here, um, Yeah, he shrunk the code at the cost of maybe doing more stuff in the mutex. Wait, what about the alignment? You delete the alignment? What? Did we not use it anymore? Yeah, so here, maybe we only ever set alignment to 1. I'm worried about that. I will ask him about that. All right. Is Boulder, Colorado still nice? I don't know. It's too left wing for me, probably. Why was there not an error about redefinition of F with different type? I don't know. There probably should have been. Been to Georgia recently? Not recently. Not in a long time. I went to Atlanta a long time ago. Didn't super love it. It's kind of all right outside of Atlanta. Yeah, I don't know. Dude, Boulder is full of hippies. It's the most hippie part of Colorado, which itself isn't bad, but hippies have kind of morphed into something horrible in the year 2020. So I don't know. All right, here we go. I wish I was on my good computer and I could like see timings. Have I met Florida Man yet? I have not, although I'm sure I would eventually if I stayed here long enough. Well, maybe that's it. Any final good technical questions from people before I hang it up for the night? This was also not the longest stream, but I started late. Oh, we still went an hour and a half. That's pretty good. Are the nodes of the syntax tree stored on the heap or are they put in a continuous data structure? What do you mean by continuous data structure? In general, if you want to go fast, you do not call malloc very much. Okay. Like using a general heap where you don't really know where things are is very bad for performance. If you use that frequently, you can do it once in a while. Yeah, I just did the xy equals yx thing and verified that. How do you do it? We just have a fast allocator for each thread that just advances a pointer and gives you back the memory, and it does that in blocks. And if it runs out of a block, it calls malloc, but you know, the blocks are like 64K. So, and most allocations are probably, I don't know, let's say allocations are 100 to 200 bytes, right? So we only call malloc once every like 300 allocations right now, probably. A very rough number that I'm pulling out of thin air, so that may not be too accurate, but that gives you the basic idea. Did Romero move to Ireland? Yes, he did. Have I checked out Ireland? I don't. I've never been there, so I shouldn't really say anything. But I don't really. Everywhere else in the general area of Europe that I've been, it's just seemed cool to visit, but I didn't really want to like move there. Um, Ireland might be better, but I don't think it's a freedom state. So like, you know, all they have to eat is potatoes. Yeah, well, there's that. You know, it is kind of a freedom state. Czech Republic, man. But it's still EU. Czech Republic. We're experimenting with using placement new with a care buffer to reduce heap allocations. Bad idea. I mean, that's basically the right idea. It's just where does that buffer come from and how big is it, right? What about Italy? I mean, it's part of Europe. So, like, I guess Czech Republic is part of Europe as well, but somehow they're still more of a freedom state. Yeah, Singapore is one of the places that I would kind of consider. Singapore is very much not a freedom state, but it has other things going for it. Like Singapore, if I were to move to Asia, it would either be like Singapore or Taipei, or sort of the places in Asia that I would go. I don't really. I mean, you could sort of like chill in Thailand or something, but um, eh. What about Canada? No, I mean, dude, all men in Canada are going to be forced to take hormone therapy starting in 2023, so I don't want to be there when that happens. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to go. We'll try to do more programming streams soon. It's just a little bit, when I'm traveling and I'm out all day because I just have a little hotel room, I probably stream less because why would I sit in this hotel room all day? But um, we'll do some more. Thanks for being here to deliver just a little bit of value to the people. Well, pre-deliver because we haven't shipped the beta yet, but we will eventually. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you later on.